Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I want to make a throw pillow. So recently I moved this blue chair into my studio. My grandmother actually handmade this chair many years ago in like the 60s or the 70s. Now it's part of my studio space. I added a carpet, I added a table, I even added a bowl of rocks, but something is missing. And I think the something that's missing is a throw pillow. Originally, I thought maybe we would do some granny squares or some stripes or color work. Let me know in the comments down below if you would like me to do that. But what I settled on for this video is a leaf. If you look around the rest of my studio, there is a lot of green, a lot of plants, and a lot of leaves. So I think a leaf throw pillow is going to tie this seating area into the rest of my space and create a cohesive, maximum cozy vibe. So come along with me. I'll show you what I do and how I do it in order to make this crochet leaf throw pillow. So first, let's talk about what we're going to need for this project. Of course, we're going to need some yarn. I'm using this Loops and Threads Soft Classic Acrylic in the color Ivy. I don't know if I'm going to need any additional yarn, but that's the plan. It is about a number 4 medium weight yarn. You're also going to need a crochet hook. I will be using a 5.5mm hook today. You'll also need some scissors, as well as a yarn needle to weave in your ends. In addition, you're going to need sewing needles and sewing thread because the final ingredient is an old pillow. So gather your supplies and let's jump in. I think I want to do a basic leaf shape. Maybe it'll even come down a little more this way, I don't know yet. But I have an idea for how we're going to create that shape. And let me show you. So I did a little sample, and with this, I found that I could create this angle by putting a corner in the middle of my row. So I had a row of 3, and then my next row in the middle stitch, I put 2 stitches, and then I just kept doing that. But then I decided I wanted to add a center vein to the leaf, and I think this looks so cool. You've seen this method before on my channel. Basically, it's a chain 4 that we put in the row. So we do a row of single crochets, and then we do a chain 4 and continue across. And then on the next row, we do single crochets, chain 4, single crochet. And after we've done all of these rows, we put one loop inside of the other, and it creates this braided sort of effect. But in reality, it's just lots and lots of chain 4s that are being looped together. And when I loop them together, you can see it creates kind of a cupped shape. And I think that's gonna be perfect for the pillow because then we'll have kind of a 3D pillow, and we can add some stitches down the middle of the pillow to create a shape where it's puffy on both sides, but kind of gets pulled in the middle. We'll do some stitches through. So that's the plan. We're just gonna do it much larger for a pillow, and we're gonna be making 2 of them, so keep that in mind. All right, now I think we've got the ideas down. Let's jump in to actually starting this project. I am gonna start with a slip knot. From here, I'm gonna chain 2. 1 and 2. Now into the first chain, not the chain we're next to, but the first chain we did, I'm going to do 3 single crochets. So I'm inserting the needle, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops. And then again in the same space, there's 2, and then again in the same space, there is 3. Then I'm going to chain 1 and turn the work. It's a very short row, but hopefully you can see all the stitches. So we'll start by single crocheting in that first stitch. Now in that second stitch, which is the middle stitch, we're going to do single crochet, chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then in that same stitch, we're going to do another single crochet. And then single crochet in the last stitch of the row, chain 1, and turn. So that is what our first little section should look like. For the next row, we're gonna start by single crocheting in the first stitch, and then in the second stitch, which is where we have that chain 4 going, we're gonna put 2 single crochets in that stitch. There's 1, and there's 2. Then chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now in the next single crochet on the other side, we're going to do 2 single crochets. There's 1 and there's 2. And then 1 more single crochet, and then chain 1 and turn. Now for the next 10 rows, there's no change. We're going to be single crocheting in the first stitch and in all the stitches up to that stitch that has the chain 4 coming out of it. Whenever we get to that stitch, we're putting 2 single crochets in and then a chain 4, and then we do 2 single crochets on the other side of that chain 4, the first stitch after the previous row's chain 4. And I'm going to repeat that exact same thing over and over again, 10 more rows. So I will meet you back here after I've done 10 more rows of this exact same pattern to show you what it's looking like and what we can do at that point. All right, here is how it's looking after 10 rows. You can see how those chain 4s are creating space here. We're gonna close that space up so you can actually see the shape that the leaf is taking. This is gonna be the top of the leaf. So I'm gonna take my crochet hook, take it out of the work, and then I'm going to insert it into that space in the first 3 stitches. It's into the first single crochet. And then I'm gonna grab that first chain 4 with the hook and pull it through that spot, that space. Then I'll put my hook into the loop and I'll put it under the next chain 4, and then I'll pull that through. And I'm going to just keep hooking the next chain 4 and pulling it through the loop of the previous chain 4 all the way up for all of these 10 rows. And you'll start to see this sort of raised braid shows up on top of the work, and that is going to be our middle vein on the leaf. So here is what it looks like after doing that chain. Isn't that cool? So now this is the shape of our leaf actually. And at this point, we need to start increasing the width of the leaf because it's going to need to be wider than we actually need it in order for us to create the texture or the shape that I'm looking for. So at this point, I am going to start the next 10 rows. Let's do it. Now for the next 10 rows, we're going to be doing increases every other row on the first stitch of the row as well. So what that looks like is we're going to put 2 single crochets in the first stitch, 1 and 2. Then we'll continue our single crochet across, and the same as we've been doing when we get to the last stitch before the chain 4, we're going to put 2 stitches in that last stitch before the chain 4, then do our chain 4 as normal, attach the same way we did for the previous row with 2 single crochets in that first single crochet, and then single crochet across, but in the last stitch of the row, we're going to put 2 single crochets. Here I am coming up to the end of that row. In that last stitch, I'll put 2 single crochets. There's 1 and there's 2. And then I'll chain 1 and turn. Now for this next row, we're going to be doing a regular row, no increases on the front side here. So just 1 single crochet in the first stitch, 1 single crochet in the second stitch, and so on until we get to the last stitch before the chain 4. We're going to do the same thing we've been doing there. This will never change. We're always putting 2 single crochets in the stitch before the chain 4, then chain 4, then 2 single crochets in the first stitch after the chain 4. So that won't change. But for this row, we are going to be doing no increase at the beginning or at the end of the row. So here I am coming up to the end of that second row in our little group of 10 here. No increase at the end of this row, just 1 single crochet in the last stitch. Then we'll chain 1 and turn. Now for row 3 of this section, we're going to do another increase. So in the first stitch and the last stitch of the row, we're going to put 2 single crochets in that stitch. Otherwise, the row is exactly the same as we've been doing. So I'm going to be repeating that for the next 10 rows. Every odd row in the next 10 is going to have an increase at the beginning and end of the row. Every even row in this set is not going to have any increases and will just be a regular row. I'm going to zoom through the rest of this because it's the same thing for 10 rows, and I will meet you back here to show you what to do next. Here I am coming up to the end of that 10th row for our second section. And you know what? Maybe I'm gonna take out some stitch markers here and just sort of mark the sections. But this one, you can see it's increasing the size so much more. When we do our little braid, you'll see it comes in quite a bit though. So let's do the little braid. For the next 10 rows, we're gonna be doing something different. We're going to start with a chain 1, then in the odd rows, we're going to put 2 single crochets in that first stitch, 1 and 2, and then we're going to single crochet across until we get to the last stitch before the chain 4. I'll meet you there because that is where we're going to be doing something different. All right, here I am coming up to, so for this last stitch, I'm just going to put 1 single crochet in. And that is the change we're making on this set of 10 rows. So I did 1 single crochet into the last stitch before the chain 4, and then I'm gonna just put 1 single crochet into the first stitch after the chain 4, and then I'm going to single crochet across the rest of the row. I am going to do 2 single crochets in the last stitch of the row. So for each odd row, I'll be doing an increase at the beginning and end of the row, and for the even rows, I will just be doing a regular row. But now, when we get to that corner where the chain 4 is, we're only putting 1 single crochet on either side of it. I'm just gonna zip through these next 10 rows, and I'll see you at the end of it to show you what it's looking like and what we're gonna do next. All right, here is how it's looking after the next 10 rows are in. So the first 10, second 10, third 10. Now we're going to get into our 4th set of 10 rows, and this one is going to include a decrease stitch. So we're gonna start with a chain 1 and turn. Then in the first 2 stitches of the row, we're going to single crochet 2 together. So insert into the first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, insert into the second stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on the hook now, yarn over and pull through all 3. Then single crochet across until you get to the last stitch before the chain 4, then single crochet in that last stitch, chain 4, single crochet at the other side, same as we've been doing. And I will meet you at the end of this row to show you how I'm going to finish the row in the same way. Hey there friends, let me just pop in on the video to remind you to click the thumbs up button. The button is down here and it is a great, free, easy way to show your support for the channel and to let me know if you liked this video. Thank you so much. Now back to the video. Here I am at the end of the row now. I'm going to do a single crochet 2 together again. So I'm going to insert the hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, insert into the last stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3, chain 1 and turn. Now for the next row, I'm going to have just single crochet across. So I'm not going to have a decrease on this next row. And I'm going to be doing the same thing we're doing always in the center, and then no decrease on the other end. So this next 10 row repeat is going to be exactly those 2 rows. 1 row with a decrease at the beginning and at the end of the row, and then a row of just single crochet. I will zip through the rest of this repeat and I will see you at the end of it to show you what it's looking like and what we'll do next. All right, here I am after that set of 10 rows. You can see the decreases are showing on both sides now. We're going to continue with that same decrease for the next 10 rows, but we're going to introduce a decrease here. We're gonna do that by skipping the last stitch and skipping the first stitch when we do our chain 4. So we're going to get to the second last stitch of the row and then chain 4, and then instead of attaching it here, we'll attach it here at the second stitch. I'll show you when we get there. We'll start, as we did for the last group of 10, with a chain 1 and turn. Then I'm going to decrease stitch, so I'm going to single crochet 2 together. for the first stitch and the last stitch of this row. Now I'm going to single crochet up to where our chain 4 is. Here I am at that chain 4 space. In rows past, we would single crochet into the last stitch before the chain 4, but we're going to skip that stitch and just do a chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we'll come to the other side, we'll skip that first stitch, and we'll single crochet into the second stitch of the row, and then single crochet across, but remember to single crochet 2 together for the last stitch of the row. This is going to offer us a little bit more decrease. It's going to tighten down the point of the leaf. You will be able to see that after we do our next set of 10 rows. So this is going to be the first repeat for the 2-row repeat. The second row will just be single crochet, no decreases anywhere, just single crochet across. And I will meet you after we do this next set of 10 rows, and you will see how the leaf has started to shrink down and hopefully look more leaf shaped than it does right now. All right, I've finished that next set of decreases. Let me zoom you out so you can see what it's looking like. So it's become a 3D shape, which is what I'm aiming for. So it's okay, that's a good thing. And we've got to update that braid. There we go. Now remember, this is the top, so we can just fold these down flat. And you can see this puffs up. My plan is that this will be puffed up by the pillow, and then we'll stitch down the center where this sort of vein is, and that'll create 2 pillowy pockets, which I think are gonna be really interesting and provide some kind of cool texture to the pillow. See what it'll look like from the side. It's got like fullness there. So I'm going to continue for the next 10 rows the same way we did for the last 10 rows. I'm going to do the skipping of the stitch in the middle, and I'm going to do the decrease at the beginning and end of the row for every other row. So I just did a row that's just single crochet. Now I will get started on a row that starts with a decrease, has a decrease in the middle, and then has a decrease at the end of the row. I'm going to zoom through the next 10 rows because it's just the same as we did for the last 10. And I will see you after that to show you what we're gonna do next. All right, I've finished my next 10 rows and it's starting to really come together. I can see the vision now. So you can see it's kind of a pentagon. We've got an increase and then a little straight line, and then it decreases continually. And this is how long the row is right now. It's pretty short. And now we need to decide about the stem. I think right here is going to be as far as I'm going to go decrease wise, but I think we need to figure out the stem at this point. I'm going to decrease every single row for the next, I don't know, probably 4 rows. I'll decrease at the beginning and end of the row, and I'll do the decrease in the chain 4 section, just to shrink this down real quick so we don't have to do another 10 rows to get it down to the stem length. So I'll start with my first row with the decreases. I did a single crochet 2 together for the first stitch of the row. Now again, I'm gonna skip the last single crochet that happens before the chain 4. And then I'll do my chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I will skip the first single crochet after the chain 4, and then I will single crochet into that second stitch. And single crochet across until there's 2 stitches left in the row, and then with those 2 stitches, I will single crochet 2 together. Chain 1 and turn. And now the second row, we're going to do the same thing. So first and second stitch are single crochet 2 together, then single crochet up until the stitch before the chain 1 or the chain 4, then chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip that first stitch, single crochet into the second stitch, single crochet across until there are 2 stitches left in the row, and then I will single crochet 2 together. Chain 1 and turn. And you can see it's shrinking real quick now. All right, on to the next row. Decrease stitch. And now I'm already at the chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then skip that one, and then it's a decrease stitch. Now I can chain 1 and turn. And now let me just zoom you out because we are now onto the stem. we need to finish up the braid up until the row that we just did. We have to get it all done up. I'm calling it a braid, but really it's like a surface crocheted chain. I just think it looks like a braid. All right, there's one left. I will put that last one in, pull that through, and we have to now link this into the crochet so that it won't come undone. So I'll put my hook back in the work, and now I'm going to single crochet into the first stitch, and then I'll single crochet 2 times into that loop. And that's going to tack it down, just like that. And then I will single crochet into the next stitch. Chain 1 and turn. And now I'm just going to single crochet across. There's going to be 4 stitches in this short row. I will single crochet across and then chain 1 and turn, and single crochet across, chain 1 and turn. And I'm going to do that, I think, for maybe 2 more rows, just to kind of give this sort of end bit the appearance of a stem. You're so cute. All right, there we go. I think that's good. And now you can see how that finished off. We continued reducing. The center is still there, and now we've got this stem on the end. To finish this off, I want to do a round of single crochets all the way around the leaf. So I'm going to start in that stitch we just put our last stitch in, so that I'm getting myself around the corner. And since we did this all entirely in single crochets, so all we have to do is put 1 single crochet in the first stitch of every single row. It makes it really easy to know where to put your hook because there's only 1 first stitch of every row. And it's easy to space them because you can just put it at the beginning of each row. Easy peasy. Did I say that enough times? All right, I'm gonna zoom through the rest of me just single crocheting around the outside of the leaf, and I will see you back here at the end of the round to show you what we're gonna do next. I thought I was going to just go around and not have to give you any additional instruction, but I think we need to make the top of the leaf a little bit more pointy as we go around it. So I'm going to just single crochet up to the top, and when I get to that top, I'm going to put, what am I gonna do? I think I'll do single crochet, double crochet, and then a picot. So chain 1, chain 2, slip stitch into the top of the double crochet, and then I will finish off with a single crochet. Will that do it? I think that's perfect. Let me show it to you again. So in that top stitch, I will do a single crochet, then a double crochet, yarn over, insert into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 of the loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through the remaining 2, then chain 2, 1 and 2. Then in the stitch at the top of the double crochet, insert the hook back into that space here. Then yarn over and pull through both the loops on the hook, and then in the same stitch still finish with another single crochet. From here it's just single crochet around into all of the first stitches of the rows. So from here I'm just going to zoom through, and I'll meet you back at the stem end to show you what we'll do next. Here I am coming up to the end of my single crochet round. I'm just going to single crochet across the front of the stem again, or across the bottom of the stem, and then I'm going to show you what it's looking like. There we go. Last stitch of the round, I'm going to slip stitch into the following stitch and pull it through. I can cut my yarn here because we are actually done our first leaf. Let me show you what it does, what it looks like. So you can see it's 3D. It's a 3D shape. It's got a very wide sort of middle section. This seems like a fun idea for a hat. It's not a hat, it's a leaf. Okay, so now the next step is to make a second one. After that, we're going to be able to put it together. So I am going to go ahead and do that, and I will meet you back here when I've made my second leaf to show you how it will come together and how it will turn into a lovely leaf crochet throw pillow. All right, it's the next day now, and I've finished my second leaf. You can see now the shape when we fold them in half. Well, first of all, it's foldable, which is cool. There's the shape though when it's folded. And when it's flat open, you can see it's got this 3D shape. So now the next step is going to be single crocheting or sewing around the outside to connect the two pieces together. We need to leave an open space though for us to insert the stuffing. So I'm going to leave just about 3 inches at the end open. But let me show you how I am going to stitch these together. So here is where that single crochet border comes in handy. We can use those single crochet stitches as the anchors for our seam. So I'm going to start by inserting my crochet hook into the corner stitch on one piece and then into the corner stitch on the back piece. Then I'm going to yarn over with my yarn and pull up a loop. Then I will chain 1. I'm going to drop the tail at this point, and then I'm going to do a single crochet into the next stitch. So I'm going to insert my hook into the next stitch on the front piece, insert into the next stitch on the back piece, then I'll yarn over, pull up a loop. There's 3 loops on the hook, but yarn over, pull through all 3. Then I'll just insert my hook into the next stitch on the front and the next stitch on the back, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops. And then I'm just going to single crochet like this all the way around, putting 1 stitch in each of the available stitches and lining up both pieces so that you end up with a nice straight seam. This will take a little while because I'm going to be making sure everything is lining up really nice. So just take the time it takes and I will meet you back here when I get to the other side. Okay, I've made it nearly all the way around, and now I'm starting to see the shape of our leaf. It's looking kind of not leaf shaped yet, but that's okay, don't worry. It's gonna be so cool and so leaf shaped eventually. Okay, but now that I'm at this point, I'm gonna stop my seam because we need to start stuffing the pillow with our old pillow fiber. I have my old pillow here. I'm just going to cut it open. So I'm going to just pull it apart and grab some of the soft stuffing from the middle of it, and I'll just pull it out and then we'll start stuffing it into the pillow. It's gonna be so cute once it's done. All right, I think that's a good amount of stuffing in our leaf, giving it a good amount of shape. So now what I'm going to do is finish this round of single crochets to close up the rest of the pillow. And when I get to the end of this, we are going to be turning around and doing another row, and it's going to make a very cool effect on our leaf, I think. All right, I've made it all the way around the pillow now with my little seam. And now you can see the pillow is super puffy right now. We are going to be adding some stitches to bring down the middle sort of vein of the leaf, so it will look a little different when we're finished. But before we get to that, we are going to be doing now from where the stem ends. So I'm going to single crochet up to here. At this point, I'm going to change to double crochets. So yarn over, insert into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. But I'm going to also do a single crochet in each stitch. So I'm going to do double crochet, single crochet. Now we're on to the next stitch. Double crochet, single crochet. And the next one, double crochet, single crochet, all in the same stitch. And I'm going to do that all the way around, and that's going to create a little bit of a ruffle around our leaf, which I think is going to add a very cute texture to the edge. I am almost done with my little round, and it looks so cute. It just looks like a square right now, I'm gonna be honest with you, but it's totally gonna look like a leaf again very soon. By doing the double crochet and single crochet in the same stitch, we end up with a little bit of a ruffle, which is, I love that texture, so that's gonna be perfect for me. Okay, do you think it would be crazy to go around this whole thing with slip stitches now? I kind of want to. to create even more like thickness on the ruffles. What do you think? Is that a crazy idea? I'm gonna do it. Okay, so I've made it down to where the stem attaches to the leaf, and I'm just going to chain one and turn at that point. And now I'm going to insert into the first stitch and slip stitch and insert into the next stitch and slip stitch, and I'm going to do that all the way around. This is probably going to take a while, but I think it's going to be worth it just for that little bit of extra density, and I think I have the yarn for it, so I'm going to just slip stitch all the way around this thing, and I will meet you back at the other side of the stem. All right, I've made it all the way around with my slip stitches, and it is doing exactly what I was hoping for. So I'm going to put one more slip stitch to finish off my row, and then I'm going to cut my yarn here, and we can weave this one in. And now we are going to move on to the part where we're going to add a little bit more shaping. For this next part, we are going to need a yarn needle as well as a long strand of yarn. Look at how close I came in Yarn Chicken. We like just one. Then I will thread up my yarn needle, and then I'm gonna start at the stem end, and I'm just going to insert the needle down through the work and then up through the work one row ahead. I'm gonna pull that up, pull the yarn through, and then tie a knot. I'll weave this end in after. Now I'm going to go up and down through the pillow, through the center line, but all the way through the pillow, so through both sides. And I'm going to just pull it as tight as feels right for each row. Do you hear my birds talking right now? They're very chatty. I'm just inserting the needle down, then having it come up on the other side, pulling it down to the next, And I'm just going to repeat this all the way down the leaf. So I'm just going to continue down until I get to the top of the leaf. There we go. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go back up the pillow, and I'm going to stick it in very similar spots to where I did it the first time around. I'm going to do that basically to reinforce the little stitches that I already did, because it's just sort of hopes and dreams holding it together at this point. So I want to come up and kind of repeat the same spots. If I think maybe I'll do different spots so that it brings the entire stem down. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Do some different spots. But I'm gonna go back down until we are at the stem end, and I will see you when I make it back down to the stem end to show you what we're gonna do next. Shut the front door. Look at how cute this looks. So it's 3D because it's a pillow. So I did the little tufting stitches to bring the center of the leaf down. So it's thinner in the middle of the pillow than it is on the sides of the pillow. But come on, tell me that doesn't look like a leaf. Do you think we should add veins? Like, do you think we should actually put colorful veins in it? I don't know, it kind of just looks like a leaf like this. Look how good it looks. It kind of looks like a butt, but we're gonna just pretend that that's not what happened. Look how cute. Okay, let me set it up and we'll see how it actually looks. I've added a few stitches to try and pull it down, but I'm still seeing a butt. So what I want to do is add some veins into the leaf to kind of distract from this butt crack looking seam. I don't know what happened here. It's not exactly what I was going for. So we're going to do some surface crochet, I think. Or maybe we're going to do, no, what we're going to do is embroidery stitches. That's what we're doing. So I'm going to start, I guess I'll just start at the middle, at this uppermost point. I'm gonna connect my yarn in. I'll just like weave the end in to connect it. And I'm connecting it to my widest point in the leaf. I'm gonna pull it through most of the way. And now I'm going to do the chain stitch. Sorry about the lighting. I already put everything away, but I didn't like how it finished, so I want to add this. So I'm going only into one layer of the leaf, and in the one layer, I'm just doing the top layer. I'm doing the embroidery stitch called the chain stitch, and I will show you how to do that. So you have to create a loop, insert your needle back into the previous stitch. Here, let me zoom you in. Okay, so I just had a stitch come out. I'm inserting the needle back down, bring my needle up. It will catch the loop, and then I'm gonna make a new loop. Insert the needle down. Yep, this is going to fix the problem. I can already see. I can see the light. Okay, so I'm just going to continue with this chain stitch. If you're interested in learning about embroidery stitches, I have tutorials for those. So I will link those in the corner now and in the description down below so that you can find those, and then you can do surface crochet or you can do embroidery stitches if you would like to. I'm going to zoom through doing a bunch of veins on the lines of the leaf in order to try and just sort of deflect from the overall shape that we've ended up with here. It's almost perfect, and I think once we add the veins, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be perfect. So I will meet you after I finish all of these veins to show you the final look. That is much better. Much less butt shaped, much more leaf shaped. Ta-da! It's finished! I added these veins and I think it made all the difference. I think this looks so cute. It came out looking a little bit like a Swiss chard leaf or maybe some kind of kale. I don't know, but I will say I think it is going to complete my room. What do you think? Isn't it the cutest? I think it is such a great idea because leaves are basically squares turned sideways. Right? An oval with a pointed end. It's like a square. I think you should try. If you have a cozy space that you want to make cozier, I think that a good way to do that would be to make a leaf-shaped pillow for your space. Where did my birds? Anywho, friends, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, I hope you'll take a second to click the thumbs up button. It really helps the channel grow, and you're already here, so you might as well. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. We put out new videos every single, and I live stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 9 a.m. till 12 p.m. So come here to hang out with the animals and make stuff with me. That's all I've got for you today. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye!